So, so the same cycle has started again. Every time we have a court date for the divorce, um, weird things start to happen. Uh, I get to talk to my kids less. Um, my mail stops coming through. I start having problems with my addresses, and I got to go redo changes of addresses again and find out where my mail is going. Get that address, change it from that address back to my address that I've had now for a year, 2 years, I've had to constantly keep changing my address back and forth, and I keep asking the postmasters at both post offices, like, how does my address keep getting changed? I'm 36 years old. I've done address changes. I've written letters. I've done all of that my entire life. And, at this point, I'm not going to say I'm being gaslit, but I'm being told by the people who should see the issue, there is no issue. You're the one that's changing the addresses. You need to stop doing that. And at this point, the only explanation that I have is, I've already said in earlier videos that my wife stole my identity. So she probably has an ID with someone else's picture and has that person going in as me, changing my address to whatever address she chooses. And I keep bringing it up, abuse. And it was in the beginning, when I was originally served, it didn't make sense to me why she hammered so hard that I was the one that was abusing her and our children. And I remember, 3 months into me being homeless, I saw a video. It was either a video or a post of a doctor saying that accusations are actually confessions. And after living homeless for 3 years and interacting with so many different people, I can agree with that. That accusations are confessions. Unfounded accusations are confessions. And it's I was accused of financial abuse when in reality I never really had control of the finances. The only finances I had control of was whatever little bit of money I didn't give her and her mom. And when they found out that I kept money for myself, it was hell to pay. All of a sudden, I needed to pay for something broken down in her car, or something in the house broke, and they didn't have money to cover it, and they needed the little bit of money that I had saved up for myself. And this is the whole time I was with her. That was my life. And I remember saying on my Facebook one time that it's weird to me that everyone that has aided and abetted this woman, that coddles her and tells her that this behavior is okay, they all pretty much told me with conviction that I abused her and that I deserve all of this. And to me, it's crazy because if I financially abused her, I wouldn't be living in a car that she owned. I would have been removed from the home, or whatever you want to call it. I'm gonna call it the truth. I was put out onto the street, kicked out of my house, put out onto the street less than, and that was another step of her abuse, and that also gave her a way to 100% steal my identity, because she controlled my addresses up until that point. I had no knowledge. As a stay-at-home parent, I wasn't getting mail. I didn't have money to spend, so I wasn't really paying attention to I wasn't receiving anything at the house. And then after a while too, right before I got served, I had noticed that her dad for a whole month was going to the mailbox, and he had a mailbox in front of his house. And so one day I went and I grabbed the mail and he like snatched it from me, and I called her and I was what the fuck is going on? Why am I not allowed to see the mail? And she made a comment about how like, oh, they were looking for something. I was like, that doesn't explain why your dad just snatched the mail out of my hands. Like, I'm not supposed to look at it. Like, what are you trying to hide from me? And I think it was like 2 weeks after that I got served. She she was like, I want a divorce, and I was like, okay, fine. Like, yeah, we really haven't, you haven't really been home in like 2 3 years. You know what I mean? We moved down here and it was like you became a whole new fucking person, and you treat me like I'm a house slave. Like, I remember the neighbor across the street told me he was told that I was the landscaper, and I was like, no, I'm her husband. I'm the father of these kids. And I mean, it makes sense now why people down there didn't know that I was her husband and didn't treat me like I was her husband. They treated me like I was like a side piece or someone that like wasn't her husband. So like, to me, it makes me question like, who was she parading around as her husband? And like, it also makes sense why a lot of people thought I was Italian, and like, I was just like, no, bro, I'm not Italian. And it's kind of funny, hilarious even, that people believed that lie. And honestly, I think they believed that lie because they wanted to believe that lie. And I don't know, it's just, I came from an abusive home as a child. So to me, I didn't put two and two together that my wife was also a manipulator and an abuser. Because like, as someone in my life has recently said, it wasn't as bad as what I grew up with, so I tolerated it, you know. And to turn around after going through everything I went through with that woman, and end up like this, and end up being told that I did things to her that aren't even true, you know. And it's just like, people are, they've gone on podcasts and talked about it, and like talked about me 3 years later, and I'm just like, I'm at a loss because it's 3 years later, and like I've said, nothing has gone. We're still at go. She's out here living life like she's a fully divorced woman, whereas I'm her prisoner, and that is abuse. 100%, that is abuse. You don't get to serve someone, put them on the street, move on with your life, keep the divorce at go so that that person can't grow and live and move on. You know, like, I admit I'm traumatized. I cannot form lasting at this point. I can't form lasting relationships because I do not trust anyone. You know, like, the depths of deception that my wife went to try to, it wasn't even just to try to destroy my reputation in my life. She was fully trying to destroy me as a human being, as a man. You know, like, she wanted me to either kill myself, get taken out, or go fucking crazy. I mean, every situation she has set up so far has always been manipulated to benefit her. Everything always benefits her in the end. And to me, being told that I was an abuser, like, I reflected and looked, and I realized that like, these men who perpetuate these lies and spread these lies, they're listening to bigotry. You know, they're listening to stereotypical lies and believing it off bat. And mind you, I was in a few bands. Like, I wouldn't say the entirety of mine and my wife's relationship, but near the end, I was in bands. Like, I was raising my family, working in bands, and then when I became the stay-at-home parent, I was still raising my family, stay-at-home parent, bands. And I think it was like one or two of the bands I was in, we were very vocal. Well, I was the lyricist. So I was very vocal about how I felt about white supremacy, how I felt about sexism, how I felt about bigotry, and how I felt about equality. And everything that my wife did, she targeted every aspect of what I was against, and tried to make it so that I appeared to actually be for it while publicly being vocally against it. And it's a very disturbing aspect in a very disturbing way. And it tells me that she understood and understands what I was talking about and why I was talking about it. And she turned around and did exactly what I was talking about. And then, these people cry and get mad when I say, like, like those actions were racist. You can't do racist things and get upset when people call you a racist. You can't accuse someone of doing things without proof and then expect people to believe you. And then when people don't believe you, you get upset and then try to destroy those people who don't believe you. Because now, why would I believe you when you're trying to destroy me? When I didn't believe what you were telling me in the first place. What is the aspect of destroying me if what you were telling me in the first place was true? And again, I feel like I'm getting way off topic. I have not gotten sleep in a couple nights, even while I was at the hotel room. Like, I'm stressing hardcore because I don't know if the courts are gonna acknowledge the fact that my human rights have been trampled all over, my parental rights, the fact that I've lived in a car for 3 years. Like, no one should have to live like this, and especially no one going through a fucking divorce. Yeah. And I don't know. I'm trying to be in better spirits just for my kids' sake, but it gets tough. Like, I had food poisoning last night, hanging out at the side of my fucking car, puking, and it's just like, I don't deserve this. Nobody deserves to live like this. And the fact that, like, I have to beg for my rights to be in my rights, something that we should all have just naturally. I shouldn't have to beg for that. I shouldn't have to ask to have a basic human right: shelter, food, security. Like, I never would have done this to this woman. So for her to turn around and continue her abuse times 10, it tells me that, I'm not her first victim and I'm not her only victim. Look at what she's doing to me. You really think she's not doing that to the kids times 10? She's just doing it in ways that they can't talk about because they don't know how to talk about it. They don't know who to talk to. And, her and her family are the same people that will sit there and tell you, oh, children need their dad, and then turn around in the same breath and call me a deadbeat. He hasn't seen his kids in months. Meanwhile, I see my kids almost every Sunday. Yeah, the past couple of Sundays not, because I've been broke, lost my job. Like, I hate that I have to put them in that category that, like, I can't see you until I have money. Like, they don't deserve to hear that, and they don't deserve to live like that. And for a 36-year-old woman to sit there and think this is okay, this is how I want to raise my sons. It's, to me, you don't deserve to be a parent if you can't put your children first over your feelings. Like, I get it. You're upset that I said I wanted to get a divorce. You're upset that I didn't break and do whatever. You're upset that you stole my identity and defrauded me out of all my fucking money, and I haven't died and killed myself or anything. But at the end of the day, all I care about is my fucking kids. That's it. Housing and my children. A life. That's what everyone deserves. And to sit there and 3 years later just keep egging away and keep doing things behind the scenes to try to, like, continue your abuse, it tells me you're never going to change. And, like, my aunt keeps asking me, like, oh, if God willed it, and, like, fuck God. God let this woman do this shit to me. God allows this woman to continue doing this shit to me. I will never go back to a woman who put me on the streets in the dead of winter in an attempt to kill me. and that's left me on the streets during harsh ass summers, harsh ass winters while she's gone on vacations, renovated her home, gotten brand new fucking cars. And my children, I'm the one that's buying my children clothes and food and shoes. Me and the woman that has helped me the past 3 years, you know? And I'm still married 3 years later, living in a car that my wife owns, that she refuses to relinquish so that I can continue with my life and move on. She's the only one that has been allowed to move on and grow. And that is abuse. That is the end game for all abusers. They get to continue to move on. They get to move on and grow and build with somebody else while they continue to abuse you and keep you down in the dumps, so that they have you in a little pocket. So anytime something goes wrong in their life, they can just go fuck with you really quick. And it's just like, the systems allow it. Society allows it. You know? And society has allowed it for this long because it's a woman doing it to a man. And she played the system. She played everybody. Told everyone she was the one being abused. She goes in and, you know, like, because honestly, like, she has this much power to get the police to tell me I can't be in my own town, but you couldn't call the cops when I was beating the shit out of you. That doesn't track, you know. I'm losing space on my phone, so it might be a while before another one of these videos pops up.